This is Lesson 9 in our study of Proverbs 31, and I'm glad you've joined me. Moxy is an old friend of mine. She is an example of a woman who is a force of character, determination, courage, and nerve. And in this lesson, there are a few descriptives that jump out at me. She is strength. She works and contemplates. She purchases and plants, and she knows. Looking back at our last lesson, let me ask you, how many servants do you have? Did you take a look at the people that are in your everyday life just a little bit differently? Our teachers, the men and women who serve us at stores, our waiters, the customer service agent who's on the other end of the phone when we call when we have a problem, and those people that we see sometimes on a daily basis who hand us our coffee, our lattes, our cappuccinos. Can you join me when I ask the question, how many servants do you have? The answer that says, servants, I have many, and I am determined to treat them with dignity, to show my gratitude to them, to be generous with them. And this takes us to the beginning of our 9th lesson, the CEO. And the verse reads this: She contemplates a field and purchases it. From the fruit of her hand she plants a vineyard. At first glance, this is Moxy the businesswoman, and she is one smart cookie. She is Moxy the CEO. She is one to dabble in real estate. She's a landowner, but she isn't content with just owning land. Oh no, she's going to develop it and turn it into a vineyard, which means she is also hiring and supervising many people. It takes a lot to be a great businesswoman. You have to know your product, you have to be able to manage people, to be able to manage finances. So let's talk a little bit about finances for a moment. Are yours under control? If you say no, why not? It's very important. I had a friend who tells me all the time that when growing up in her house, money was such a huge issue. It was the source of all arguments. Every time she got any kind of gift, she got also the lecture on how much money it cost and how she had to appreciate it. And so it was her reason for not controlling or understanding or taking any interest at all in finances as an adult. And I know that our childhood experiences play a huge role in how we look at things as adults. But we've also learned that it's time to put those childish things away, to grow up and to become adults. Money is just a huge part of our life, and we may not like it or even believe in it, but we can't survive without it. If money and finances are not something that motivates you, then you have to learn to respect it, just as we respect time. My husband and I found ourselves part of the 2008-2009 Bank of America and countrywide whole home mortgage debacle. Somehow our home got put into foreclosure, and for 8 years we tried to fight it with absolutely no resolve. And countless times we had refinanced, filled out all the paperwork, and we'd get to the very final part of it, the part where Bank of America would say, okay, it's all good. And our file would get closed, and nobody could give us an explanation why. So it was a very challenging, very difficult time. But through that time, we are so grateful that it forced us to really learn and understand and respect finances. Because of that situation, all of our credit cards went, the interest rates just skyrocketed. Our credit rating plummeted. And so we were forced to live on cash. But it has now become a way of life, and we love it. When we want to make a purchase, we plan for it. We put money aside and we go and buy it. And neither of us would say that we lack anything. We feel that we have all that we could possibly need or want in our lifetime. It has been a wonderful experience that came out of an extremely difficult experience, but it taught us to respect money, to respect credit, to respect cash, to respect the whole world of finances. Now, the only way that we can make our finances work is with a budget. A budget is simply a roadmap for us, for our finances. And budgets need to be very simple. We sometimes overcomplicate them and we make them so difficult that we don't possibly have the time or energy to put into them to maintain them. So a budget is simply this. You write down all of your income and then you write down all of your expenses. And included in your expenses is what it takes to live. So your income can't possibly just meet your debt because then you have no food. They have to be balanced. And sometimes we have to increase our income, and that is a good thing because it might force us out of a little safety zone. It might force us to get out of our patterns, to go out and seek a new job, a new opportunity, to open ourselves up to a new experience. Recently, my husband again and I found ourselves with some additional medical bills unexpectedly and also some unexpected tax bills. And so I sat down with our budget and I thought, oh, we can try and fit this in and we can spread it out and we can move this around. Or I've got 15 hours a week that I could go find a little part-time job. I wonder if that's something I should do. Well, the very next day on Facebook, one of our local little companies here who really cater to the tourist put out an ad that said that they were looking for this season's staff and to come in and apply. Well, the next day I went in and within 20 minutes I had an application, an interview, and a little part-time job. And I love this little job. I get there early in the morning. I work by myself for a couple hours. I'm in a kitchen. I'm making food and I'm getting paid for it. And what's really exciting is to know that every other week when I go and pick up that paycheck, it has two purposes. It's either going to go on a medical bill or it's going to go on a tax bill. And at the end of this year, that debt is going to be paid for. And it won't have affected us much at all, except for giving me a great experience. I'm having a lot of fun and I'm paying off an unexpected debt. But a budget is what gives us those kind of guidelines. It shows us where we need to make some changes, what we need to control. And it's very important to do it. But more than being a good manager of her money or a good businesswoman, when I look at this verse, I realize that Moxy is a decision maker. Are you? Can you make decisions? If you've ever been around or lived with anyone who can't make decisions, it drives you crazy. When you ask questions like, what do you want for dinner? And the only response is, I don't care. What are you hungry for? Oh, nothing. What do you want to do tonight? Doesn't matter to me. Where do you want to go? I don't care, you decide. There's something about that that says, I'm not invested here. I'm not a part of this. Whatever you decide is okay. Being able to make decisions is a very important part of all of life. It's important in business. It's important in your personal life. And if you aren't a good decision maker, then you might have to practice a little. So start small. Make some little decisions and stick with it, like when you're asked, what do you want for dinner? Voice your opinion. What would you like to eat? Where would you like to go? You decide what movie you're going to watch or what show you're going to turn on TV. You decide what you're going to do on your day off. Now that can be very scary if you aren't a decision maker because you get flooded with fear of, oh, that might be right, or they may not like that, or I have to take care of everybody, and if I say what I want, then somebody else might get mad at me. Put all of that away. Turn off those voices. You have got to be able to make decisions for yourself. You have to be able to voice your opinions, to express your desires. If you're going to be part of a relationship, if you're going to be successful in business, if you are going just to have any sense of self-worth or confidence, you have to be able to make decisions. Now, not everyone is destined to be a CEO or a CFO or entrepreneur, but a basic understanding of business is required for anyone to survive in this world. We have to be able to budget our money, to deal with people, to manage our time, to prioritize our day, to set goals, to manage our debt, to buy a house or renting an apartment. People who can't manage their time are unreliable, and people who can't control their spending are a risk. People who can't manage others are destined for a life of chaos. And a person who can't make decisions will automatically become a follower. Women who can't make decisions have a tendency to feel as if they're a doormat, as if they don't matter, as if they're not important. But part of that is because they have never had the courage or strength or guts to express their desires. Perhaps we're all destined to be CEOs of our own life, because I think that's what it takes to be able to manage our lives on a day-to-day basis. The prayer that I leave for you this week is this: El Shaddai, God Almighty, give us the courage to make decisions and give us wisdom to make right decisions. Help us to manage our money and make us strong businesswomen who aren't afraid to take risks, to venture out past our safe little worlds. Open our eyes to all that you have for us and give us strength to accept it and move forward in the path that you have laid out for us. Thank you for joining me in this 9th lesson. We've added another garment to Moxy's wardrobe, and this garment is bold. And when we put it on, it makes us stand a little taller and a little stronger. It's a garment that makes a place for us in this world, and it sends out the message that we are confident, we are focused, and we are willing to take risks. This isn't a garment we just slip on. No, this one is intentional, and when we put it on, we become women clothed in strength and dignity, and we can laugh without fear of the future. I'll ask again, if you haven't contacted me, please take the time to do so. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear about your Moxy journey. You can connect through my blog at jeanniegb.com or email me directly at moxy@asilverthread.com. Make some decisions this week. Voice your opinion this week. Be a woman of strength and courage. I'll see you next time.